Howdy, folks. The editor of Rip Rap, the newsletter of the Kiap-TU-Wish chapter of Trout Unlimited, contacted me and suggested to me that I might talk a little bit about the various ways, various patterns, various methods for fishing caddis flies here in the upper Midwest. Caddis are just beginning to emerge on local trout streams and are a very, very important part of the trout's diet locally. So let's talk this over just a little bit. We have in the vise my interpretation of Andy's better than bait fly. This is tied on a heavy wire scud hook in size 10, Daiichi 1120, with a material called fuzzy foam in olive for a body. It's counter ribbed with olive brassy wire. And the peacock herl, and of course the bead. All the heavy wire and the bead are there. Well, the bead is something of a fish attractor, I suppose, but the idea is it all helps to get the fly down. If you really want to dredge the bottom, you might consider adding split shot to your tippet. Then once the fly begins, or the caddis is pupated and is thinking about emerging, we can fish from bottom to top with, this is a Gary LaFontaine sparkle pupa with a weighted body, the famous Antron bubble, the little fuzzy tail at the back, and then a brown beaver fur or some natural fur for a head. This is when the creature first begins to burst from its cocoon. It's out of its shell. Another version of that. This comes from. This is a pattern from Charlie Craven. Charlie Craven's catastrophic spark pupa. Again, one of those just beginning to rise to the surface kinds of patterns with the bead head. You can find excellent videos, far beyond my ability to create videos online about these flies. Coming up the water column a little bit, we have Gary LaFontaine's emergent sparkle pupa. Now has sprouted a deer hair wing and is tied without weight on the body. You can fish that at mid depths or even near the surface, or you on the swing perhaps. Hereabouts, I think you're going to find that the most useful hook sizes for the nascent adults and the adults is going to be 16 and 18. So once the fly is at the surface or just at the surface, you might try. This is a fly from Craig Matthews at Blue, or his design. Craig Matthews at Blue Ribbon Flies. This is his iris caddis with this looped wing. It's a strange looking fly, there's no doubt, but if you see it from the bottom, you begin to see what the appeal to a fish could be. Then at the surface, we have a couple of CDC patterns. One of the more popular ones of that is Lance Egan's corn-fed caddis. This is a fly designed by Tracy Peterson. This is Tracy's little caddis thing and the dark color is supposed to suggest the little black caddis that's found in some of our streams, more primarily a little further south in the driftless. Here's another way to go at that. This might be a little bit big. This is a size 17 hook from years ago, and again, it's just black CDC. Those are going to ride in the surface film. One of the most versatile and useful and most effective of the whole bunch has to be Craig Matthews' brilliant X Caddis. I tie this, as was suggested to me by Dave Blackburn of the Kootenai Angler several years ago now. We've got that Zelon tail. Mr. Blackburn suggested Antron dubbing for the body. This is Hare's Ear Antron dubbing from the Spirit River. Genuine X Caddis hair from Blue Ribbon Flies, then tied with red thread. Mr. Blackburn put great faith in the red thread. But again, 16 and 18, and you can, vary the color, vary your approach. Yeah, it's just one of the most versatile and effective flies in the nation. If you need something for rougher water, or perhaps want to suspend a little, like a midge larva or something under a dropper, I do the dry dropper thing. This is John Goddard's Goddard caddis. This fly comes to us from Great Britain. This is spun and clipped deer hair in a hackle collar. Brilliant in its shape. It'd be hard pressed to come up with anything more accurate for shape. Mr. Goddard tied it with stripped hackle quills to serve as antennae, and some caddis do have quite prominent antennae, but I think that they inhibit hooking. They just kind of make the fly too big, and those hackles are so stiff that the fly will bounce out of the trout's mouth before it has a chance to close its jaws around it. Then there are a couple of options. There's once caddis have become adults and begin to complete their life cycle, eventually the females are going to lay eggs. This is, many of them dive due to that. So an old-fashioned wet fly on the swing, fish down, it might imitate that diving caddis that's on its way to lay its eggs. And then lastly, there's also some of them that extrude their flies on the surface, and so they're essentially caddis spitter patterns. This is Mike Mercer's, another brilliant design. Mike Mercer's missing link, and it's it's tied with a parachute hackle, a wing that might suggest the adult, but it's also got it has a body that is nothing more than thread, or an abdomen that's nothing more than thread wound with pearl crystal flash, and then coated with resin or Sally Hansen's or something to give it a little gloss. That means that the hook will tilt down in the water to some degree, and then this wing that's at an angle would also lie more flush. But it's also got these underwings of any kind of synthetic that you choose, fine synthetic, and that could be could serve as a spinner wings of or the spent caddis shape that we're looking for. But by the same token, it's also visible in low light because of the parachute post / wing. Just another excellent option. It can also, by the way, some people say it can serve as an emerger. So it's just however the trout wants to see it. So there are several options for use over the next few months. I hope you experience some good fishing.